Hey there, welcome back to another episode of Coffee Corner. Today is your episode of 59. Wow, I can't believe it's a 59 already. Let's get started. I I know I've been kind of passive, not aggressive, but passive. I kind of took a social media pause there to enjoy my life a little bit. Not really, just I've been super busy. I am not sure why I'm still doing this. I would ask myself, what is the purpose of continuing? Uh, then kind of feel like, I don't have the desire to do a topic or talk about something. Mostly because I don't really have anything to talk about. I feel like it's more about rambling rather than educating people. And I know some of you don't really care if I educate or not, and which is really sweet. And I've received a few comments saying that please don't stop doing this. Uh, I really appreciate it. I think that's why I'm still doing it because every time, occasionally, like when I want to give up, and I will see a comment like that, so I kind of want to continue. Do you want to continue? Can you shake? Oh, you good boy. Can you give me a kiss? Okay, good. So he wants to continue too. So again, this is a note topic episode. I really don't know what to talk about. I can't come up with a topic that I'm interested in, or I don't really have a time to do a little research and educate myself. I admit that I kind of feel guilty because the whole purpose of having this going on is to learn things. And now I feel a little bit tired of learning things. And sometimes, especially, I'm learning writing on the Coursera, and I'm learning other things. And I feel like I'm so occupied. So it takes part of my energy of thinking about what I want to do. Hopefully you will still stay with me. So I've got a few comments about how they felt things and how they felt that was kind of the end of the world or things like that. I know my words don't really matter that much when you have that moment, especially when you're having all the downs and whatever people say, oh, it's going to be okay or things like that. It just sounds very cheesy and useless. And I totally feel you if you feel the same because, whatever happens to you, it is big. It doesn't matter if it's good or bad, it's big to you because that's about you. Uh, and when you share those kind of things with your friends, family members, or any people you want to share with, they whatever they say, you will feel like it's weightless. It's not like they really care or they really understand. It's more just like they're trying to comfort you. So then it makes everything even worse. But what I want to say is, I am not saying this from a perspective like, yeah, I have everything. Of course, it doesn't matter. I failed a lot. Like I failed a lot, and I think um, my luck has become better since I came to Canada, but I think that's probably because I worked really hard. When I was in China, um, yeah, it was just not nice. I had a Gaokao twice, and then I went to university and I wanted to do a master program, so I took the exam twice, three times, failed. First two times didn't even pass the first round. The third time I passed the first round and failed in the second round. So then I got a chance to go to Canada, and then I back then before I came here, I already start to apply for a master program here, and then they said no. I will see if I can find my rejection letter. So I'll show you, but they said unfortunately we can't accept you as a student because such a competitive program, which I understood. But when you think you're someone and then you didn't get what you think you deserve to uh, get it, and then you just feel so bad because then you start to feel like it's not fair. It's just not fair of getting things with whatever you want. So that's how I felt about it, and I never thought about taking a language course, a ESL course, just because I think that was for bad students, and I never pictured myself as a bad student. I didn't like that concept. So, but I had no choice. I applied first time, they said no, and then I came to Canada anyway. So started my English language learning. Um, and I said this long time ago, and I liked it. I'm still happy that I took the course because I made best of friends and learned cultures, and it gave me a break and transition or even a bridge to another like academic program. I didn't feel so shocked when I started my professional or academic learning here. Then during my ESL program, I applied for that program at Western. If you're from Western, say hi to me again. And then they said no again. So that was second time. I really thought that was the end of the world. I felt like I would never do anything successfully. I would never make my life better. It was just not a thing. Mm, and I think someone told me that why don't you go to the since you're already here, why don't you just go to the office and talk to them and figure out what was going on? I'm that kind of person. I'm really shy and I don't want to bother people, and I'm so scared to face the reality that I am just not good enough. Uh, it took me it took me a lot effort to convince myself that you got to do this, otherwise you're gonna go home with nothing, right? So then you waste the money, time, everything, but I get nothing. So I went to the office and then I talked to the admission officer, and then she didn't really say anything. She didn't really tell me the specific reason, but she said, "Look, I know you have met all the requirements, but you have to remember you're not the only one who's applying for this program. There are people from around, like they are from all over the world." And only I think back then when I was applying for that whole program at Western, they only wanted 15 students internationally. So no, not international. I think in the whole program they only wanted 15 students. That's what I've heard. So she said, well, look, you meet all the requirements, but that doesn't mean that we will accept you. So you have to excel. Then we can say, well, you're very competitive, and then we can just have you, right? And I was like, okay, that makes sense. And then she even told me talk to the potential supervisor and see what she or he says about your application and situation. If they say yes, and you will have a better chance to get in. I was like, okay, never thought about that, and nobody told me about it. Then I started to do a little bit of research uh, in the program and then see which kind of focus is what I want. And then I found this teacher education. I always wanted to become a teacher trainer. So thought about doing that, and I found this supervisor and her research. It just sounded very interesting to me back then. And then I realized that I didn't have much experience about such a thing. I just had like, when you had a big dream, you had dream, right? You didn't have any plans for your dream. I just said big words, pretty empty big words. And I said, oh, this is what I want to do in the future. I want to do this with no specific plans or methods. And then I started to take those teaching courses, and I started to do more volunteers. And then, you know, when you felt like you were wasting time doing those kind of things, you're not. You're not. The I think the core of doing those things is you're not wasting time. You're trying to improve yourself to reach your goal. If you fail and then you stop, then that means you are not going to do any good. But if you fail and you're trying to improve, and then that time you didn't waste it. And I'm happy I took those courses before the master program. So I took those courses and then I volunteered a lot. And then I contacted the supervisor and she was very happy. She basically just said yes. And I quickly got my offer before Christmas with a scholarship, which was very ironic back then because I got rejected twice and now I got accepted with a scholarship. So, so what I wanted to say is when you fail, you can give yourself a little bit time to dwell on the negative feelings or anything. You can even cry and you can just stop from doing anything, but don't give too much time for that because you still want to pick up your pace and then start to really think about how to fix the problems and then improve, right? That's how you can move on. it is not the end of the world. I am not just saying that because I had the thought about ending things because I thought, wow, my life would be hopeless if I didn't get this. But my life is not hopeless. I still start to learn and I got opportunities. So you never know what's going to happen. Yeah, you never know. I would never, if you asked me, let's say 10 years ago, exactly 10 years ago, if I saw myself and if I told myself that you're going to be in Canada and be an English teacher, I would laugh my ass off. Seriously. Like, I would never believe I would have a life in Canada. But you know what? It happened. And I am not only having a life and I have a wonderful dog. I always wanted a dog. My parents said no. But now they like my dog too. Um, yeah, so the most difficult moment is when I think just happened because you had nothing going on. That was the only thing you were doing, and it just didn't fall. It didn't fall for you, and then you just felt like all of a sudden your whole world crashed. That is normal. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have the feeling. Well, that kind of feeling is totally normal, but it is the thought that you're not going to stop matters, right? So that is very important. Uh that keeps you going. Yeah, that keeps you going. So if you are doing something or in the middle of doing something or you are going to do something and you're thinking about failures and you're thinking about or you've already had failures or something, I hope this video can help you a little bit. Just everyone has downtimes. I most of my life seriously it was in downtime. I would say that my life has become better uh, since I graduated from from the master program because everything I did it will be an epic fail, epic failure. I'm not sure why, and I blame that on bad luck. But then I realized it was just because I didn't actually really work hard by the definition of working hard. It's not like how many hours you put there to make things happen. It's how many effective hours or valid hours you put there to make things happen. I tend to stay up late to do a lot of things, and I kind of moved myself, saying that, "Well, look at you, how hard you worked." But then, if I really ask myself, did I really work hard? Probably not. I kind of like wander around and do probably if I had 3 hours and there were like 1 hour at least, I was doing something else. Not really 100% focused on what I was supposed to do. Then you can't say you worked really hard because there's like 1/3 of time you're now doing what you're supposed to do. So that is how I define working hard now. And also, I'm not trying to be those kind of tough people telling you gotta work hard. You gotta. Now we all promote work smart, not hard, right? Or something like that. I think of finding a way to um, to do your work is very important. Find your own rhythm. That is very important. How would you like something, or how would you do something you don't like? It's hard, but there are going to be a lot of things that you don't like, but you still have to do it. How can you make it happen? How can you finish that? You got to find your own rhythm to do it. That's what I was thinking about failures. And now, because I've had so many of those, uh, every time when I think about that, I'm telling stories. And this is why how I can take it relatively more easier, no, relatively much easier than before is because every time when something bad happens to me, I'll think about as a story. Now, when I teach my students, I just tell them those funny stories because back then it was painful. It made me had a lot of negative thoughts. But now when I talk about those are my learning funny stories, and those are something that can inspire other people. And I'm like, okay, next time if something bad happens to me, I'll learn from it and I'll tell someone who's interested in that story, and then make it funny. Why not? So that is how I portrayed fillers now. I mean, not trying to be like you have to do that, but how can you make it a little bit more enjoyable? So that's what I was trying to do. And that leads to another thing I kind of want to talk about is jealousy. Jealousy, envy, whatever you want to call it. I think I said this before, and I saw this on a website. It says envy is more like and so you're jealous of someone who's better than you, and jealous is more about relationship. But to me, I don't really find the difference there, but so I'm gonna just use jealousy. I did notice that because I've come this way in a very hard mode. Like I worked really hard, I failed so many times, and I deserve what I have now because I worked really my ass off to get what I wanted. And the life I've been through was very tough. So that's why when someone gets something very easily and without even trying, and make me kind of feel like jealous. And I would think, why can't she or he get it without even going through the hell? Right. And I just felt like, okay, that's very interesting. Why did I have the thought? And then I went to Google it, and then they said some of the jealousy. That of course they have different types of jealousy, but one of the types there is because you feel unfair. You feel like for you, you work hard, you put a time there, you put energy, a passion, everything there. You didn't get it. For someone else who is not as good as you, and then gets it effortlessly, and then right away you have the kind of jealousy arises, and then you know why, and then you will be like, I'm not jealous of him or her because she gets or he gets that. I'm jealous of that person because she or he gets it without effort. But of course, remember, I don't know if they actually really worked hard or not. I assume, or based on what I saw, and I feel like they didn't work hard for that, and they got it. Plus, their family background, and maybe they're rich, maybe they have resources, they have connections, things like that, and you have nothing. So you basically have to get out everything you want, you need by yourself, and for someone else, just because they have connections or they have money, and then they just get it. And that kind of thing makes me sometimes feel really jealous. I feel like, why life is not fair, and then I just feel like maybe I'm sick. While life is not fair, the whole thing is not fair. But I am comparing myself with someone, like I'm comparing with the wrong generation. I'm not talking about age generation. I'm not talking about people at my age. I'm talking about generations like who started the life. So I think for some of the people, or some of the people who are at my age, uh, they have everything. That's because their parents, that generation, worked hard. I am at the generation with their parents, right? So I don't know how to find a word to describe it. If you know what I mean, like I should not compare myself with someone who already has resources. I should compare myself with someone who just started because I just started, right? So maybe in the future, my kids will be one of those kids who have everything, right? All they need is to be happy and to study well and then go to school and graduate. Uh, and then good for them because I'm proud of myself. I created a whole sound environment for them. But the reality is hard to realize who you're supposed to compare to. Normally, you would just compare it to someone who's at your age or in the same environment, or even someone who's from, who's on social media because, easy access there. You can just see them. But then that makes you feel sick because you think you are such a loser and you think you work so hard you get nothing. Uh, no, no, because I should feel proud of myself. I really got everything by myself. I worked really hard to get what I want. I know my personality wouldn't fit in very well in my country, just because I don't know how to compete and I don't know how to please people. I mean, I'm a pleaser, people pleaser, but I still don't know how to, make connections, things like that. Here, it's more like if you work hard, people will like you automatically and people wouldn't take advantage of you. So I like that. I just don't know how to avoid those kind of things. Uh, I had a job in China and I didn't really like it because all the whole complicated relationship at work. Here, even though I didn't like my previous job, I still enjoyed my coworkers. Where some of them were still friends, and now I have very simple relationship at work, and I feel happy. And I feel like a relationship among people here is just simpler. And I was like, okay, this is what I want. Then I have to stay here. But how am I going to stay without resources, money, anything? Then I have to work hard. I have to get a job. And then I have to make enough money to meet the requirement to do that. But I'm totally on my own. When I was having a life that I couldn't even afford a toothpaste, I was on my own, right? So my parents couldn't help. So I've been through all sorts of things and I felt proud of myself until I saw someone who had an easy life and then they are very successful, but they didn't have to go through all the shit. So then that's when I felt like it's totally not fair. And that feeling of unfairness leads to jealousy. And that's how I feel about myself right now. I know part of me is sick. I should not think about that. But sometimes I just can't stop thinking about it. And I kept telling myself that you have to focus on yourself. If you think you're not as good as the others, then what you need to do is to learn more, to improve yourself. But then but then sometimes I have the feeling like, why am I working so hard? What is the purpose of life? So if I work really hard, I get what I want. And then what? You know what I mean? I just sometimes start to question a lot of things. So what is the meaning of doing that? And even this whole video things, I actually really started to question myself. Why am I still doing this? For what? Right? If I don't do this for money, of course, and I don't do this for views, um, and I don't do this for myself to learn more. Then why am I still doing it? I kind of lost the purpose of it. Then now, right at this moment, I feel good doing that because I feel like this is my journal. I am venting myself out and I'm sharing my emotions. I'm showing my vulnerability to the public, to someone who care or doesn't. But I feel a lot better to admit that I am jealous of some of people, and I do think life is very uh, unfair to some point. And I admit that I need time and I need some strategy to adjust my mindset. But you know what? Everyone has weaknesses. I think jealousy is a part of my weaknesses just because my whole life I want to be the better one, right? So my parents always compare me to someone else and then they always say, look at this one, look at that one. There are many ways to compare. You will compare your salary, your age, your appearance, and then your jobs, even your spouses, or even dogs. They would compare, like, oh, did you see the other one's dog? And then they were like this. I am, I am sick of it. This is very contradictory. Okay, I'm very sick of it and hate when people compare people like that. But then I feel like I'm the one who does the most. I compare constantly. I would look at other people, say, am I doing better than that person? And or like, am I losing something because I didn't do well? And then look at other people. So I end up being the one who compares even more. So yeah, I'm sick of that, but I can't stop. So what I'm trying to do now, I'm still trying to figure out things, is to really focus on myself. And I went to Google why I have that, feeling unfair that leads to jealousy, things like that. And they gave you a lot of options or solutions, and then they're good. Some of them are helpful, but I don't think it's very constructive. Just because you have to be the one who work really hard to integrate that meaning or something into your body to make it be part of your body. Then you can switch your mindset and then start to really focus on yourself. Um, yeah, I don't know. I have the power. You know what I mean? I sometimes I'm just weak, but you know what? That's what I think about failures. and failures leads to unfairness, and unfairness leads to jealousy. But if you have similar experience, thoughts, feelings, let me know. Share that with me. Even either leave a comment or send me a DMs. Um, let me know. I'm not the only one who has this thing, but I do get jealous of people who do not. I'm not that type of person that if you're prettier than me, and I'll be like, oh my god, look at her, she's so pretty. And I'm more like that. You're not very qualified, or you're not very skilled, but you get that, then I feel not fair. Or, you have people who work really hard and couldn't get it. And then you have people who don't work really hard but still get it. And that makes me feel mad. I mean, that kind of unfairness really makes me feel jealous of those kind of people. And then I feel like not only just jealous, and not only like I would think, oh, I wish I could have what she had or he had, but more like in the way that we need some justice there. So we should really let people see that how you get there, and would you be able to succeed or something like that. But life is just not fair. Focus on yourself and compare yourself to the right generation. I am a startup, and I should compare myself with the startups. So my startups can be one or two generations ago, could be really older than me. But you know what? I am creating future for myself and for my offspring, hopefully. But right at this moment, I just have to tell myself, what? Heads down and work. Yeah. Okay, hopefully you will like this episode. I will continue, so don't worry. I really like this. I mean, occasionally I would want to vent, and you're my audience who will listen to my nonsense, and I'm very happy about it. And I really love your comments. So sweet, so lovely, and this is how I feel encouraged to continue. But thank you so much for that. Let me know if you have the same feelings, and let me know I'm not the only one. But you know what? It's never shameful to admit to your negative feelings. Okay. Hope you like this episode. Please give a thumbs up and pet the butt. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.